All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to class 7, if you can believe it. Amazing how fast this is all going. So this will be our second to last week of tonalism. And then starting in January, early January, we will have a color class for those of you who'd like to join me for that. It's always a lot of fun. Learn a lot. And Deb and other people who are really interested in tonalism, don't worry. Just because it says color doesn't mean we have to get loud and crazy with our colors. You'll learn a lot about how to gray colors, how to mute colors, how to keep them towards the center of the color wheel. Again, that's mostly what I'm known for. I don't paint really, really bright paintings generally. Just doesn't feel natural or natural to me. Nothing wrong with people who paint really exciting colors by any means, but just kind of always judging what feels right to you. So today we were going to start on the final project, and the one that I was going to work on was this one, still wet from the printer here. So if you guys remember that, and I posted it to our Facebook page so people could see it and use it. And I think I saw a couple questions on there about it. And I would like to work on it together, basically taking it into Photoshop and dealing with different questions and different ways to edit it. I know most of you guys are not really comfortable with Photoshop or don't have Photoshop. There's plenty of simple, very inexpensive or free photo editing software. Some of the best stuff is on your iPhone and iPad if you have that. Trying to remember. Anyways, there's lots of options. So you can just look up online or in the App Store. Good morning, Stacy. Look up online or in the app stores, just basically free, inexpensive, top-rated photo software. Because basically the main thing we're looking for is editing, some color changing, some value shifting, being able to brighten it up or darken it in areas. Being able to combine images is really nice, and most of them will offer that, where you can take, 2 different photos and cut them into each other. But if you are not comfortable with that, there's nothing that says you can't just use your printer, cut up a couple different versions of it and cut them up and splice them together, because they're just references for us. We don't need to make really, really beautiful references. We're just trying to get our starting point, something to inspire us and to work on. That's also something you can do with just sketching or just little gouache or watercolor sketches, pencils, pens, whatever it is. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit as we move over to Photoshop, is you can change anything and everything. We are not beholden to our photo references at all. Okay. Deb was saying I'm a nice teacher earlier, but one of the few things I really don't like when students say is, but it's in the photo. It's just, we have all the power. We are the creators of this universe, whatever it is we're making. Change anything, question everything. Is this helping? Is this hurting? And if it's not helping, it's probably hurting. So if you end up needing to simplify something a lot, that's fine. It's better generally than having too much unnecessary detail, especially because it's there, right? I know how lazy we all are when we're driving, and see a beautiful scene, and we just don't even bother to get out of our car. We just, hopefully pull to the side and shoot our reference. But it's amazing how many students I have who have fences just straight across the front, or rock wall, to create that barrier for no reason, or even just the gravel on the side of the road that doesn't make sense. It's not helping. question all of it. The branches that are coming in from the top right and left because the tree is, off the scene. It may be useful. It may be a great lead-in tool or a directional tool, but question it. Question the directionality of the clouds, the darkness or the lightness of the clouds. Clouds are something that a lot of beginning painters or even intermediate painters underutilize. Just like a lead-in creek or a lead-in trail or whatever directional lines you're using to help move the viewer through your painting, clouds are one of the easiest. You can move them around a lot. So let's go. We've got a lot to cover today. So I wanted to show you Photoshop and kind of work together editing the scene. And you guys are welcome to paint anything you want for these final 2 weeks. I'm just kind of hoping you spend a little more time. I'm not going to ask you to do 4 paintings like I have been or 6 paintings. It's just going to be slowing it down and working on one painting. And what's the most important part of painting? Composition. I read your lips, Eva. Composition and design. That is right. That is literally, again, if you imagine the food pyramid, that's where carbs always went. It supports the whole entire thing. You cannot paint your way out of bad design and composition. Believe me, I've tried it 1,000 times. Over and over, and I still do it because I just get so excited by the colors or the different things in the painting. But slowing it down, figuring out your design and composition is never a waste of time. I know we want to get to the fun stuff, we want to get to the work, the color and the brush strokes, but it's everything. I'm going to say it's 75% of the painting. Again, because it's just that important. You can't fix bad composition with color and everything else. And that goes for abstracts, that goes for portraiture, that goes for still lifes, that goes for all of it. Even if you're just painting your cat and your kitten and your grandkids, and it's all design. So spend the extra effort, do the little thumbnail sketches, work on your Photoshop, whatever it is, whatever you need to do. You can check it by holding it up in the mirror. All of a sudden, you'll see if things are lopsided and really overweighted in one direction by just holding it in the mirror. You can check it by getting away from it. I oftentimes will put it up on my monitor, like in Photoshop, and go and stand as far back as I can and kind of do a quick little spin turn and look at it and just see. You want fresh eyes. So a lot of times when I'm doing my design and composition work, I will get it onto the canvas, which is what we're going to do this week. And then I will let it sit, which works in a couple different ways because I'm letting it kind of dry and set up. But I'm also coming back with fresh eyes. We've all had that experience where we're in love or in hate with whatever we're doing, and then come back the next day and go, oh man, that's not as bad as I thought, or oh no, that is really not working. I'm seeing it almost as if a different person were seeing it. So important tests. You can also take photos of your painting with your camera and flip it, turn it into black and white, do whatever you need to do to test it. So Gail, right now we're just talking about, and whoever else just joined, Carrie, we're just talking about the importance of design, composition. We're getting ready to work on our final 2-week project here. We're just going to slow it down. We're going to use what we've learned over the last 6 weeks, and we are going to put it into, hopefully, one very thoughtful painting. Don't worry if it doesn't work out. We're all still learning, and I've thrown so much at you. We're still experimenting and trying new things. So it's not like I expect perfection, but it's a nice time to sit back and digest what we've learned and use what we've learned. So I'm going to very quickly switch over to Photoshop. And again, let me just go over quickly what we're going to do. We're going to review the things we've learned throughout the 6 weeks. we're going to look at the Photoshop image of the vineyard. This is the picture I will be doing. Again, you're welcome to do any picture you want for this next 2 weeks. And I'm going to paint it with acrylics, black and white, just as a value study, because that's how important the design is for me. Again, you can start it in oils, you can do whatever you want, but with the acrylics, it'll allow me to go back and forth really quickly while I'm talking to you guys and while we're collaborating. Let's pretend that we're all helping paint my painting. Okay, so I want your input, I want your feedback, and and then you are free to work on your own. I also see that you guys have posted a lot of beautiful work and a lot of really interesting stuff on our Facebook page. So I hope I'm not too rushed, because I would love to get to that and give some feedback and take a deeper dive into what you guys have been working on. And I know that some of us are a couple weeks separated from each other on homework and stuff, and that's fine. Just keep sending it in. We'll keep giving feedback. There's no pressure. If you're not caught up, except for Laura, I don't care. Just kidding.
I have a question.
Sure.
So for a final painting, if will we get a chance to get you to give some commentary, some critique of our black and white value painting before we go with the color?
Yes. I will do.
I mean, I hate to take time out of your busy week if you're just.
Well,
I
apologize. I have not looked at our page once this week. Like I said, I'm getting ready to drop off 13 new paintings. I picked up 3 big commissions this week. It's just been kind of a go, and which is all great, but I apologize to you guys. It's, Monday afternoon when I'm like, or Tuesday afternoon when I'm like, oh no, I've been neglecting my wonderful students. So I appreciate you guys understanding on that, and I will do my best, and things should be kind of slowing down. I'm just going to be working on the commissions, and so that should be a little easier. So yeah, as you post, I will try to keep up at least every other day and get in there, or if you want to email me even as you're working on it. Otherwise, what we can do is we can start next week. If everybody thinks that they can get their design stage done, let's say submit it on, let's say Monday night. So here's your homework. I haven't done this yet. Monday night next week, I would like to have you, if you want feedback from me, have it submitted to the Facebook group page. That's if you want feedback. After that, I can't promise that I'll be able to get to it. So if you get it in by Monday night, I will do everything in my power to get to it and give some feedback.
Okay, I like that.
That sounds all right.
Deadline, yeah.
Great. All right.
Michael, I have it is my understanding, and just make sure I'm correct on this, that you're that for this assignment you want us to work large, and that we may do the underpainting in oil or acrylic, and that we may change the composition, we may zoom in, we may edit out, we may do whatever we want with that photo reference.
Or any photo reference.
Or if we want to choose something else, that's okay too.
Yes, completely. Yeah.
But you want us to work large, is that right?
Slightly larger or large, whatever is comfortable for you. Again, I don't.
Okay.
My last thing I ever want to do is add undue stress and make painting not fun. So if painting large, if painting large stresses you out and freaks you out, and you just, you know what I mean, it's going to cause you to lose sleep or not get to the canvas, worst case scenario, that's not what I want. So if, and some of my favorite paintings that I've seen this whole semester have been little tiny studies that you guys have done. So size doesn't really matter, but I will be doing, I think I have an 18 by 24 right here on the easel right behind me. And I'm actually painting on canvas this time, so that's kind of scary. I haven't painted on canvas in a long time. I've been painting on panels the whole time. My gallery in Carmel wants canvas, so interesting. I've always liked the idea that I can just paint and then decide who to send it to after I'm finished. But with them, that'll be pretty specific. So that'll be interesting, but it makes shipping a whole lot cheaper because I just pull it off the stretcher bars, roll it up after it's dry, and I can ship, 10 paintings in a tube, and then they restretch them and they frame them. So
They re-stretch them at the gallery?
yeah, and they frame them. It's the only
Oh.
gallery I've ever had that does that. But they like a consistent look in their gallery, and it makes sense to me. But boy, does
Yeah.
that save me on shipping. Wow.
Yeah.
Which
And
gallery is it?
It's called Classic Art Gallery
Okay,
down at Carmel. And they actually have 2 spaces down there.
good.
Yeah, pretty exciting. They've sold a couple now, so that's been good. They sold one the first day, so I was very excited. And then
They were too, I'll bet.
yeah, yeah. They're
How
like,
big, how big are the canvases you're sending them?
I have a couple 30 by 40s, but mostly they're 16 by 20 or smaller.
Oh.
And I did send them almost all panels. And that's what they let me know. We would prefer canvases. So, yeah.
I'm just an amateur here, but I also paint on canvas and then stretch it later. But I adhere it to a board first. So I'm painting on a surface with a good background. I hate painting on a bouncy canvas, and then I
You
just
know
leave
what?
it.
That's a really good point, and thanks for bringing that up. So when I did the 30 by 40s for them, I did the exact same thing. I actually just use my panels, and I can just tape it
Yep.
back. It's so nice, and that way I get a whole bunch of extra canvas. So when they decide to stretch it, it's easy for them, because there's nothing worse than trying to stretch a canvas when you only have a tiny bit of an edge to try to wrap around and staple. So I give them inches, 2 to 3, 4 inches on every side. Do you guys want to see one really quick? What I'm talking about? So you can see on the back that this is one of the wood panels. And I actually
Right.
stapled this one, but yeah, what I did was just stretch canvas. It's just the very beginning of a painting. I think I was even just using leftover paint, some grays that I thought were really pretty. And then I basically just came in and stapled the back. And for anybody that's curious, and Laura, you probably know this, but I'm not positive, is you'll start in the middle of whatever side, put a staple in, then go directly across it. Pull it quite tight. You don't have to pull it so tight that it's like gonna tear or anything. Staple it there. And then I start working my way out. And then I will go to the inverse side and do it out. And then the same. So it's kind of across from each other, and you're just trying to make sure you're getting any wrinkles and any of that stuff out of there. But yeah, I'm liking the panel, just like you said, Laura. It's nice, it's flat. I can be pretty mean on it. The canvas I'm going to paint on today is more like a drum versus a piece of wood.
Right.
I
right.
definitely like this.
Well,
I would have thought
I
of
find that when you're trying to, get a stain on or pick up a paint, you don't want a bouncy canvas there, when you've got your rag going.
Agree. And I'm curious about how that's going to work with doing any kind of subtractive painting on this, because this canvas is loose enough that when I get close to the edge of it, here, change the angle a little bit. When I get close to the edge, it's, it dips in and then it comes back up. So you always end up with this kind of weird texture or thing that happens right on the edge of the, where the stretcher bars meet the canvas. I hate that.
The other thing I found is I've been taping canvas to much larger sheets of foam core, and you leave a 4-inch margin or 2 to 4 inch margin depending on what you think you're going to stretch on. But then you have all this extra margin you can test your colors on. You know,
Mm,
you can
very
just
nice.
put it, you know, you mix up something, put a dab of paint in the margin, and go, ah.
I know,
That's
I know
lovely.
pastelists do that. They'll paint on a big, you'll have a bigger sheet than they use oftentimes so they can, yeah, put their pastels
Yeah.
right beside it. My buddy Don Bishop, he bought a couple just cheap bathroom doors, those kind of hollow doors.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just puts them up on his wall and he can put huge canvases on there and he just tapes them on. I don't know if he uses blue tape or what, and kind of marks off his painting area, but that way you can also go over the edges of the painted surface a little bit, or you could even, when you wrap it, you could have painted edges in theory, if that's something that's interesting to
Yeah, I've been painting into the margin so that you can get a gallery wrap out of it. And I've only stretched a few, and only for friends who say, "Oh, I love those. Can I have those?" And I say, "Yeah, I'll stretch them for you." And they
Wow,
look really, and they stretch easily, and they look good.
good.
I mean, the wrap looks good.
Yeah, so lots of cool things. And that definitely keeps it cheaper. I actually just went and bought a gigantic roll of canvas because
Yeah.
figuring this out, I'm like, man, this is going to save me a lot of money and effort. And what I do is just bring up a big folding table that we have in the garage for, you know, picnics and whatnot, lay that out and get to work. And I can do, you know, a bunch of large sizes. So yeah, if you buy these panels or what, like Laura's saying, a bigger surface and just tape them on, it works really well. I could, you know, on a big 36 by 48 panel, I could, in theory, have 4 or 5 paintings taped to it, which might be a lot of fun and interesting to do. You just want to make sure that you paint over the edges a little bit because different stretch, you know, when they stretch, it can change the size slightly. So if you measure an exact 16-inch by 20-inch and paint just exactly that and then go to stretch it, you may run into some issues. And it's not always the easiest to exactly stretch corner to corner to corner to corner. You get these kind of like where the, anyways. So a little bit of extra paint, I think, would be useful, making your painting just slightly bigger than the surface area. That makes sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Great.
Yes. So Michael, do you paint on linen or
No,
cotton, duck,
I just paint
acrylic primed or?
acrylic primed fine weave cotton is my
Okay.
favorite. Linen is fantastic. And if you like it, it's great. It is probably, I mean, I know it's a better substrate and I know it's more professional. I've just found it to be kind of slipperier than I like. And maybe it's just me not
Mhm.
used to it, but I like, you know, just because I like to stain my canvases. And I like a little bit of drag. In fact, like the panels that I've been ordering have such a fine gesso that I actually have been re-gessoing them just a little bit rougher with a cheap gesso. I just prefer, there's one brand I prefer and it's just cheap, luckily. And it's just the Utrecht one. And I've got like 6 different huge tubs, you know, there's $60 of gesso and I just keep, they're gonna rot because I just keep going back to the same cheap one over and over. But I like
Do you,
with them.
do you re-prime, I mean, do you re-gesso your canvas before you paint on it, or is it, has it been gessoed enough, the one that you purchased?
This one, I was hoping to re-gesso it this morning, but I figured I wouldn't have time to dry. So what I
Okay.
did was just did an acrylic gray wash on there. That's
Okay.
used to be dry, but I would have preferred, especially because I just don't know this brand. I don't know this canvas. I
Mhm.
would have definitely preferred to put my own gesso that I'm accustomed to on there. This
How long do you allow the gesso to dry before you go to another step?
preferably at least a day. If you're gonna
Okay.
put oils over it, it could be 3 days.
Okay.
Just ideally. Canvas is actually dries faster than a panel because it's getting air from the back side of it as well as the front, whereas a panel's not letting any kind of air through. So 3 days is ideal. And that was just it, as I just kind of woke up this morning. Again, I was up late getting canvases ready to send to the gallery right after class today. It's amazing all the work that goes into photographing, wiring, painting the edges black, remembering to put my signature on. For some reason, that's impossible. Yeah, writing on the back all the information, and getting those photos into the computer, putting the name, the sizes, the prices on there, putting together my sheet for the gallery, sending that to the gallery, plus all the images. It takes a bit. And I've spent the last 2 days just doing that stuff, not painting it.
They must love you because you do all that work. I mean, that you take care with all of it.
I love the fact when they come back to me and we're like, they're grateful. Yeah, I really like, it's brownie points.
Yes, indeed.
I'm that annoying student that I love when they hold me up and like, be more like Mike. Why can't you be like Mike? He brings it.
It sounds like you're ready for an assistant.
100%. I've gone through a couple of them. And yeah, it's difficult. I actually, yeah, I'm hoping to hire somebody soon. I'm working with another artist, trying to find somebody, because I don't need them full time, but I think between 2 or 3 of us artists, maybe we could do it. But yeah, just even priming, gessoing canvases and all of this stuff. But it's hard to find somebody that takes good photos, that knows computers, that you know, I'd love to have them even take over my Facebook. I could be painting up there and they could just, you know, read off my comments and I just tell them what to write, and they probably spell it correctly, which would be nice. And you know, my newsletters, and yeah, geez, I need an assistant. Yes, for sure. And I've had them in the past and they're all great at a couple things and really not good at some things. And, yeah, but I'm ready. You're right. All right, let's go over to, I'm going to pin me or spotlight me. All right, so I should have gotten even bigger. And let's go to share screen and Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so first thing, everybody's seeing this bright sunset here, or bright, I don't know if it's very bright actually.
Very bright.
Yeah, it's so I think I saw some comments and questions, and I know last week when I presented it, people were like, well, what is going on over here? What's going on over here? What's going on down here? That's great. Those are all really good and important questions. And remember that whole story of me putting everybody down for not getting out of their cars to shoot photos? I did not get out of my car to shoot this photo. I don't even know if I slowed down my car to shoot this photo. It was, you know, one of those little tiny country roads, which is unfortunate because so much of the beautiful scenes have those like no edge country roads. But I feel pretty lucky that I got what I got. I must have stopped actually or slowed down because I'm obviously shooting this through my sunglasses. So that would have been doubly, triply dangerous to take both hands off the wheel. So yeah, what do we like? Let's start there. Why do you think why do you like this painting, this photo?
Those trees in the back, the tall one, makes me feel like there's a country church
Right, yeah, it does.
with
Wow,
a steeple.
no kidding. Look at that. That is pretty impressive. Thomas Kincaid is going to be proud. All right, what else you got?
The glowing grass in the foreground, or the shrubs or whatever those are, that
Yeah.
glow is very nice.
You're talking about on the green itself here?
Yeah.
We did talk about the vines coming to the center last week, I think, and that they needed to move.
Yeah, let's stay on what we like just for a second more.
Sorry.
You're all right.
I like the sun, the glow in the back. That's what I see. That's where my eyes go first. when I
That
look at the photo.
definitely was for me. And look at how dark it is up here and how light. That just, rarely happens. I mean, you could almost feel like there could be stars appearing. I wouldn't dare do that. It would feel really silly, but I mean, it's almost that dark. And that probably has something to do with the curvature of my sunglasses and everything else, but I actually quite like it. I'm going to see if I can retain that. So you got the glow, and then a large part of the glow is because of the red kind of penumbra around the, I'm not sure if I'm using that word completely right, but around the trees. And then you got this dark shape against this light shape. And again, it kind of slowly gets darker and darker as it goes out. Great. All right. So we have 3 things. What else we got in here?
I like the cloud patterns.
Yeah, they're interesting. That just doesn't really happen that often for me. I love going out and shooting sunsets, but it's rare that I get a really nice patterning. Usually that's one of the main things I have to change is I'll try to retain kind of the color and the glow, but I have to make the clouds a little more interesting. That doesn't mean I might not come in and tweak them and do some movement. Yeah, good catch. What else?
Michael, can you tell us again what that, a little bit lower than halfway, yeah, what, right there, what that was again? Is it a ditch or is it a water? I can't really tell what it is.
I believe that it's just dead grass.
Oh, like a hay or something, or just,
Possibly, yeah. I really,
or like maybe just dead vineyard, or
possibly. Yeah, I really don't know. So
it's
that's
hard to tell what's even behind it. There might be live littler plants.
yeah, I can see if we go back here behind this outhouse. I think that's an outhouse. You can see what looks like pixelated vineyards starting up again and going up.
Uh-huh.
So, oops. Trying to figure out if I can zoom out. Nope, I guess not. I can only zoom in.
But when you zoomed in just then, the path showed up. See, there's a path up there.
Yes,
I
so
didn't
that's
really-
one of the cool things is we've got this road that
I
literally,
didn't really see that before when it was large. I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I didn't see the road
there's not
before.
much contrast in there.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
didn't see it either.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost see it better right here with the dirt. It's kind of a,
There it is.
higher-
Yes.
it looks like somebody drove through the ditch in between the road up in there. So yeah, okay, so what we like is the glow, at least what I like is the glow, the contrast. Back here, I don't know if this is a dark cloud, a big cloud, or a hillside with fog in between, between this hill and this back hill that's catching. Isn't that interesting? I don't quite know. My instinct was that that was a hillside, but now that I'm looking at these other clouds above it, I think that it may be a cloud. I prefer it as a hill with fog. I just think that gives us a little more sense of depth. And that was my first instinct, and I liked that. So that's what I'm going to go with probably if I retain this shape. Doesn't mean I need to keep this dark shape. But if I really didn't know and it was really confounding, I could just get rid of it, right? Okay, so you guys, let's talk about what we don't like. That's, just as important, if not more. But the reason I ask, what do I like first, is oftentimes I will write those notes of I'm attracted to literally this, it's this area, right, is the most exciting. And then it's this area. Now, when we start to say the things we don't like, part of it was, I don't know if this is a hill or just a giant cloud. It's confusing. So I'm going to have to make up my mind. I'm not just going to put that shape in there because it's there, right? I'm not just putting this back here because it's there. I still think it's probably a hill because look how it comes from behind these trees and then the fog looks like it's rolled in between. Otherwise, this line of light is almost too perfect with the hill shape of the hill. In fact, I probably will soften that. And so it's not just following this shape. Anyways, so as I kind of work my way down, I might say, you know what, these darks are too dark. That's too extreme. It doesn't look very realistic, to humanize. Or I could say, I don't care. It looks awesome. I'm going for it because, it's about creating a fun and cool and dramatic image. So that's for us to decide. Okay. So now as we come down, Gail, your turn. Sorry to cut you off earlier.
No, not at all. Now I'm disliking the country church back there, actually. It
Absolutely.
seems in the wrong place. It seems so heavy for the remainder of it to me. I'd have to change that somehow.
Perfect. Lovely. So is anybody writing notes?
Yes.
All right. So country church. And then this, is it a cloud? Is it a hill? Do we care? Do we want it? Do we need it? Is it helping? Right?
And
Country
it's
church. I'm
almost-
glad you caught that, Gail. I had totally 100% not caught that, but now that you say it, I can't hardly look away from it.
Well, I know,
Well,
I'm
it's-
sorry, but if it's gone, then the row of vines coming out into the middle makes more sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I know that what I literally painted standing underneath those bunch of trees.
Oh,
And so I know that when you get up, this leads to a paved road. The paved road goes along the top of the hill. The owner,
okay, because you can see the tops of the houses in there.
yeah, exactly. But that doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Me explaining it doesn't make it better. It just makes
All right.
me, that's why it's great to have a third party or second party come in and see things that I may have kind of just not seen, dismissed. So that's why, you know, I hate saying paint by committee or anything else, but it's nice to get feedback. It's nice to have people help you see things that you're not seeing. So good catch, absolutely. And I'm already thinking of some kind of fun things that I would like to do back there. Where's this tool? Why is it not? We're there. I'm gonna make it tiny. This is jumping ahead. That's kind of what I was like, oh, does anybody write notes? But we could very quickly just jump over here to the sky. This is just called a cloning tool. It's basically a stamp. So I just went over here and picked, and you see that little stamp tool. I picked over there, and now it's just, you can see where the cross is. That's what on the left, it's picking that.
Oh, interesting.
Something like that. I can also, oops, I'm gonna go a little higher. And I was kind of thinking, what if the trees?
I think what bothers me is that point is right in the middle.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Huh, that's
Yeah.
part of it.
absolutely. All
It
right,
needs
well, I'm
to
gonna
move
go back
over.
to not that, but good call, good catch, Gail. All right, what else do we not like? Or are we bothered by, or do we have questions about, or what are we unsure about in this image?
You know, I have to be honest and say, if I looked at this photo, I'd reject it totally. So I'm really excited to see what you do with this, because I would go, no, don't like this one. So
That's cool. Yeah, no, and that's wonderful. And what main thing, what would be the first thing that you would say you dislike about it? Is it the color itself? Is it the subject matter?
I suppose my eye goes right to that light thing and then I bounce over to that point that's right in the middle, and I can't seem to get into the foreground. It's like I stay up in the sky almost all the time with my eye.
100%.
And I'm not sure I understand what is in the foreground, like that. We already talked about that dry patch on the left, and then that clump of flowers right in the middle, that would have to go. And it looks like I have to jump over a dark area at the front before I can even get into the photo. So there's not a good lead in. There's just all kinds of things that I would criticize, you know.
But the light itself is so extraordinary.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, and the
Sure.
clouds.
And I know that Michael's going to make that.
Oh, he
absolutely
will. He will take what I think
Unbelievable.
is a reject photo and make something glorious of it. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Michael, I have a question.
Feel like
Or I guess
patting
what
this
bothers
photo
me-
on the head and like, you're not a reject photo.
I'm sorry, I'm being really cruel, aren't I?
No, that's great. That's what we want. We want you to do that. I want you, you said all the right things and all the things that I'm going to deal with. So you nailed it. Who did I just cut off? Was that you again, Gail?
No, well, I was just going to say, I love the way the light does reflect down into the green. I think the light is just extraordinary in this. And I suspect that's what draws you to it too.
Absolutely. So yes,
And so I'd probably cut off a lot of that dark at the bottom.
yep. This is a ditch.
Yeah.
I think.
I would.
I think it's a ditch. I think literally it's in the shadows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think I barely, it was not it's a country road, but it's not a slow country road and everybody's getting off work. And nothing to pull over. So I think I slowed down and took 2 photos as quick as I could and felt lucky when I got back to have what I had. But that's exactly, I am showing you the raw photo. Nothing has been done. Nothing has been edited. This is what I got. But you're right, Gail, and a couple others who, yes, I think there's something about the sky that makes me want to paint it. I pulled up another version of it here. So here,
Michael?
Yeah.
For me, it's the lone vineyard road that kind of doesn't make sense.
right here.
Yeah, it's like normally in a vineyard, you'll see rows of them. And so that one row kind of out in the middle of nowhere, at least how it appears on the image to me, I don't see other rows.
Right. I think they're behind it. I think this road is going between them, but they're going sideways. So you're seeing the sides of the rows, which is always tough on me. I'm always impressed by painters who can paint the sides of rows. I always want to paint them coming towards me, right? So that leads me to my first thought. What if I got and put in a different vineyard?
Oh,
If I put in vines that were coming towards me?
then take out the pointy trees.
Yeah. We'll get there, Gail. We'll get there.
Okay.
Well, the other thing is the vine part ends right in the middle of the composition.
Sure does. Yeah, super rough. But I did like the road. So I was thinking, what if I change this? These are very rudimentary. I just kind of threw them in quickly this morning, went through some other photos I
See if
have.
you can just put anything you want in there.
Yeah,
How about a
totally.
reclining nude?
Reclining nudes would be the best, and you'll probably get an A, Laura, if you do it. Look,
Well, Michael, what if you don't make it about the landscape and you just make it about the sky and the sunset and the backlit trees on your left and the glow on the ground plane, and you just quit busying it up with stuff everywhere? Why don't you just simplify the foreground? Because right now it's sort of half and half, and I don't know if you want to make it that busy.
right.
That's right.
But I love but don't cut off the green. I love
the-
that
The
glow.
green
we
is
want-
wonderful.
We want some green glow, please.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want some green
We need the
glow.
green glow.
You cut a
Yeah,
little bit more than
I do agree. I think the photo does seem more about the sky, the glow, and maybe the reflection of the greens on the the ground.
All
Not-
right. You
Not so
guys,
sure about all the other things.
Yeah, that's
That's
it right
right.
there. But like, then you can eliminate the some of that. I don't know. I just, those two forms. I agree with, was it Gail? I agree with that church clump of trees. It's very,
I'm sorry, I have devastated that group of trees, and it's in everybody's mind now.
I liked it till somebody said it was a church. Then I was like, okay.
yes, very much like a church. It's really interesting. And I don't know if just getting rid of the pine tree would be enough, or cutting into this, getting rid of one of the shapes, getting rid of, I don't know. We'll get to that. But anyways, thank you. Ding, ding, ding. Award number 1 goes to Deb. That's what I was wondering when somebody would say that, is why do I have all that nonsense? I have a pair of scissors. I have the ability to fold my print, anything. What I do now have is a strange format, right? It's almost becoming more panoramic. So do I just cut off a side to make it, into the same proportion? Whatever it is, fine. Okay, quickly, I'm going to go back because I have some other ideas. So I showed you my crappy vineyards that I threw in. Those don't work. So I went in and got a different vineyard, right? This is just, again, me chopping photos that I have. These vines don't match the light source and the colors and anything else, but I definitely, this feels better already to me.
It leads to your center of interest, that light.
Right, and look, our chapel isn't as important,
Well, maybe it becomes important if you move it a little bit. Maybe it becomes a chapel.
There you go. Yeah, it could be. Maybe a big chapel.
No, but modified. Drop it behind the hill.
So here I've taken those same vines and I've just warmed up the colors to try to match them a little bit more to the sky. Basically, what I did was go into my brightness and contrast and made it a little darker so it's kind of appears to be nighttime versus daytime, or sunset time, and warmed up the colors.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks. Let's go to the next one, shall we? Back to that. I just decided, well, if that vineyard looks kind of interesting, what if I threw in a different one? So I'm experimenting, and it was kind of interesting to see what if there was rolling hills in the foreground a little bit there. But I don't love it. I think I did one where I altered the colors. Yep. So there's kind of to get it to match again. And this has the same issue with the vines going sideways versus coming towards us.
And that road seems too dominant.
You think so? And
Yeah.
it's right at the source.
And it's so wide.
These big trees over on the right, dark trees, I'd probably take them up and use them as shapes to cut into the sky. But yeah, I didn't love that one either. And it feels super busy, which is funny because you would think that would feel busier.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
it does.
So far, that's my favorite, right? Probably all of ours. Then I decided, what if we just don't even have vineyards? Why do I need a vineyard there? What if I just brought in a bit of a pond or something like that? So I grabbed that. And of course, that looks really odd because of the white water, right? The clear water.
So you're
So
gonna
I
warm that up.
grabbed some of the sky to pull it down and then cut it out to put in a reflection in the pond. And all of a sudden, it's a whole different scene, isn't it?
But now it's competing with the sun.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think of it too much like that, but the sun's not in it because it doesn't get into the reflection,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we could add more grasses and things. I don't know. I personally like that, but I always want to have grass. And plus, I've just gotten done painting a bunch of vineyards, so I wasn't super excited. The other thing, if I'm being honest, is sorry, I can't see which ones I'm picking. This
Okay.
one I do like, but I'm scared to draw it in front of you guys. All that information, because normally what I would do if I have vineyards that need to be perfectly spaced, I might even draw it in pencil first, and spend a lot of time with rulers and figuring out my angles and everything else. So this, something I think I could do, but if I want to do it big and nice, I would have to spend quite a bit of time, especially when you get into these rows that are rolling up over the hill. So I very much like this, and I could definitely see myself painting this one, but I'm becoming a little more, a little more excited.
You feel like you have to have a recognizable vineyard feature there, or what's your goal with adding the other stuff, these things in?
No, I'm kind of leaning towards this, especially in class. Again, because standing up there without, and just kind of trying to move forward and get everything going, I find this to be more interesting. And I don't know if maybe I pull the water.
I think, yeah, for me, if the water were just a little darker, I think I would like it better.
Well, let's choose our water and make it a little darker. What I can, image, adjust, brightness, contrast.
I personally would love to see how you approach the vineyard and give you permission to not worry about how perfect it is while we're watching.
Okay.
I don't want to put that pressure on you, Michael.
You're nicer than I am, Susan.
Yeah.
Well, it's a matter of, it's a pretty big canvas.
Yeah, I've painted a vineyard before, and yeah, it was anything with that kind of perspective, it really takes a lot of time drawing it out.
So here's this. I'm gonna go ahead and merge. Does that feel better to you? I don't know who.
Yeah, it was Kate. Yes, it does feel better.
So it feels better. So I'm gonna merge that layer, merge down. Now I'm gonna take that water and let's just see what happens if I mess with it. So Control T. So I've selected this area And now I'm going to stretch it and move it and see what happens if it's bigger or smaller, or, you know.
I think the grasses too, in that lower right corner, if they were darker, you know,
Yeah, I will definitely have to, because I don't know. It looks like the sun is setting behind it because of the shadows, but you're right. I probably have to do some interesting lighting to it. Let's see, how does that look? That's kind of nice.
I think I like the one click before. So it wasn't quite all the way over.
Okay.
So I think as you were moving it, there was one I liked really well.
This one.
No, just a little bit more to the right. Tiny bit more. I'm being real picky here.
Oh, you're okay. Let's.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The click before, that was great.
Competition by
This is
committee.
just-
This
This is way too busy for
Interesting.
me. Too much information. I mean, the sky itself is glorious. I don't know why you need to have all the weeds and stuff.
Well, I don't
But
need to have all that.
also-
I can
That's
always
just me.
simplify it.
That's just me. That's just my opinion. It's just too much busy. It's like,
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
where to look.
If he darkened that, there wouldn't be as big a contrast. And
Right.
then those wouldn't show up as much.
Let's try
But
to-
I don't have Photoshop, so this is going to be, you know, I would be cutting and pasting.
That's bad. No.
You talking to me, Susan?
Yeah, I'm missing the greens in the foreground, and you're probably planning on putting those back in, but
Yeah,
Me
definitely. That's-
too. That big field of foreground green, very velvety, that was an
Mhm.
attraction.
Okay. Let's just kind of do Control Z. take a-
B3, I'm missing it too.
All right, well, let's go look at one more option that I put together.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's why I saved it for last.
It's okay. It's so peaceful. You put the peacefulness back into it, and
Yeah, and that's just
I
a
love it.
little field
I
of,
love that. And it leads us right to the chapel.
yeah, perfect. Going to get married.
So
Oh, what-
wow,
Oh.
is that from another photo? Because that's such a beautiful foreground.
Yeah, it's just a crappy photo I took of a field up the road from me.
Wow.
What am I doing? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Okay. I don't want that. See, I kind of know how to use Photoshop, but not very well. All right, so what layer do I want? I want this layer. And I just want to collect, because see this dark grass over here? I could actually make that into a little pond if I wanted.
Mhm.
It's pretty.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to select from over here, copy and paste. And now I'm going to transform that. And just take that over to there. So it's even simpler. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but I can come in and there. So now without that, it's got that green spot over there that's distracting a little bit. It's not immediately distracting. And it looks like a dried pond, I think, a shallow pond. And so that's what I was like, oh, maybe I could put a little water in there. That might be interesting. Would you guys like to see what that might look like with water over there? But it's kind of right on the edge. So it's a strange focus.
Nope.
And I just filled it with some of the grass from across. So it's even simpler. Anybody want to see what it would look like as water?
I love your ponds, but I would like to just keep it the way it is. But let's see it just for the sake of argument.
And I'll show you how I would do it. So I'm going to get rid of the grass here. What I would do is very quickly, I'm going to copy this layer. So I do layer, duplicate layer. And now I'm gonna take the sky, I'm gonna go a little higher. I don't need any of those trees. I'm copying that, but I have to make sure I'm on a layer where I can actually see it. Copy, I'm pasting it, and now I'm transforming it. So I'm just gonna take it and flip it. And I'm just making sure I get it into the water. It's behind. Okay, so I just have to say yes, apply that layer. I'm moving that layer up underneath here. Interesting. Okay. And now I'm just gonna subtract, delete, and it'll take a second here, but I'm just gonna figure out kind of where that pond might be. It's that dark line back there. Since we're pretty sure we're not gonna like this pond, we need a smaller brush. I'm not worrying about the detail or all the little grasses or anything. Now I need to get rid of this strange part here. So there it is as a pond.
Pretty.
Wow,
Not horrible.
Yeah.
it's not.
I
Um,
could see a little
Yeah.
bright, tiny, like stream coming off that, or by that by the dark grass, maybe just some highlight through there. What would that look like? I wonder.
Do you mean like up here? Over
Yeah, I'm pointing and you can't see me pointing, like where the darker grass comes up toward the road, like just a little glint in there, like you're seeing a little rivulet, maybe with the sun coming.
kind of like that.
The
Just a thought.
shape is very similar to the mountain or the part above it.
It sure is. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's see.
That's lovely now. I like that better. Huh.
All right. I found out where the bottom of my sky is, so I can't go to that low. Just see if a little bit more motion would be interesting. Might be getting a bit heavy now, a bit much, but I'm just curious. That looks dumb. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go back to there. So I could try to save it. So if anybody does want a pond, or at least you have the video now of it. But I personally think I like it without it. I think it is a little competitive. Gosh, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. And now I'm almost like, what if this whole area between the dark and the light of the trees became a pond as well? I don't know, getting a little bit much. I don't know, pond or no pond, do you think, personal for you guys? Again, we're all welcome to do our own painting here, but I like it, but I'm not sure.
I'm curious to see if you made the pond on the left really narrow, like it was just a little inlet, and then made a pond over on the right, what that would look like.
The pond is too distracting.
You think so?
Well, it seems to me that there needs to be some bright over on down in the right-hand corner. There needs to be, there's too much on that side and not enough on the other. Needs to be compensated for, so your eye still goes to the middle. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I'm just
Probably
wondering
not.
where it went, why it's not there. like that. Ooh, that's nice.
Uh-huh.
Got a little bit of glow. Now let's do the same. Let's just, again, we're just experimenting. It's
Uh-huh.
definitely worth spending the time to play and try things. If you try to make these big changes mid painting, you could get yourself in a world of hurt. Copy. Oh, I gotta make sure I'm on the. Oh. Get rid of this layer, I think. I hope I'm gonna trash it. Copy from there. Okay, copy. And now I need to go back up to the top where my water is. Flip it. Ooh, rain clouds. All right, and I'm going to say yes to that. Say yes to the dress. Now go over here and brutally just what happens.
Uh-huh.
I'm just pretending that whatever that grass is the reflection of those trees.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. And it actually keys in, nicely ties in. You know, and we can still edit this bottom scene. Like I can still, I'm gonna make it fit on screen.
To me, Michael, it feels like front lit, back lit. It's like, which is it? You know, is it a backlit painting or is it a front lit? I don't know. I still miss the original glow back on the foreground, the original one. That's
Yeah,
my
so
opinion.
what I would do personally is I would have my, I don't know if you guys can see me in the little square. I would have my original photo, and that would be some of the notes I would write to myself is I like this glow, this light, the colors, but I don't like those vines and I don't like the shape of the foreground. This road is so much more interesting. I really like the peach grasses that were there. Whoa.
I love that road.
I do too.
Yeah. And where's my little,
Oh, no, the water enhances it. I like that water.
yeah, isn't that weird? We got a little bit addicted. It looks a little bit boring now, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
So
And it brought the color down to the bottom part of the painting. I think that was a plus.
Maybe crop the bottom up a little bit from, make the road just a little less in the foreground.
okay, let's
Oh,
check
yummy.
that out. So
I think I'd tone down that piece of water right in the middle too, just a little bit.
right here, yeah, possibly you're right. Yeah, that's a pretty bright one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and then see how it's kind of comes down right into the shape of the tree. We still have to, you know, manipulate these trees and do something over here with that. Yeah, there's still things, but yeah, let's see what if we how do I do that? I want to just edit the bottom, but it's because it's in 1,000 layers right now. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Image crop. I'm scared. Nope. Okay, how do I? All right, this part's really scary. So I'm gonna merge all my visible layers. Because I don't want to be stuck here. Select all, copy. I'm going to give us a new one to experiment with. All right, so there we go. We've got a new one, and I'm going to crop off the bottom and see what happens if we start zooming in. Don't have so much grass. It's kind of nice having a little less. It makes the sky bigger and feel bigger, so it's not such a split like this one is.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like it too.
So here's kind of a more, this one feels squarer, doesn't it? Whereas this one feels more horizontal. You know, and I may have to manipulate it, make the sky a little bigger just to make it into a format that fits with whatever size canvas I'm going to use. I think I have an 18 by, no, it's a 20 by 24 canvas. So I would want to see what happens if I do
So it is a little square.
24.
That's gorgeous.
20. You fit on screen, and now I have to decide. I've just lost 6 inches because it's 30 inches and I can only go 24 wide to fit on that canvas unless I change canvases. So then I have to decide, does it matter? Does any of this matter if I crop it over here on the right side? You see the marching ants? Will I lose anything? This nice dark up here with what appears to be a hill.
Yeah, but you've got
Yeah.
that road is
Road.
now the center line.
Yeah. And then if you don't crop it, the chapel's in the center.
There we go.
Can you crop a bit on each side?
Yeah, definitely can. So
Actually, it's a pity to lose that that hill in the background.
Yeah, I
Right.
think it is too.
So let's do something else. It'll be a little bit odd looking.
Well, the thing about that hill in the background though, on the right, it mimics almost exactly the one on the left.
Yeah, it does.
But it's
further
in
away.
fog.
Yeah, it'll be much less heavy. So I've selected this area and now I'm going to transform it. So I'm just going to simply bring it in. It might look a little awkward and I might have to fix some of that a little bit with my paint. Like this side of the road is thinner than this side, but that's not a difficult fix for me. But I did save some more of the clouds. They get a little tight over here. Not positive, it feels a little too squished. Go back. Oh, what did I just do?
Yikes.
Phew, that was just my first one I started with, just popped that. Yeah, so we have a number of options still. And a lot of times, you know, I might print up a couple of these to look at them at different times, take my time to look. Yeah, I've got to get rid of that. Let's see what this size is.
It looks like the road's gonna go take you right to the pond, like the road's flooded.
Well, that's why I tried to cut the road, make it like
I see.
here or there. That's why I cut out the hole. But you're right, I'd probably have to emphasize that just a touch, you know, maybe make the road continue back up this way, or, you know, somewhere, just hinting at it. Doesn't need to be real obvious generally. I'm just testing my sizes again. 24, 20, and I'm gonna, instead of constraining size, go to 24. Oops. 24. So this was the one before we edited it, because I still don't hate this. I actually like having some quiet down here to make this interesting. So now what I'm going to show you really quickly is just another little test that I like to do. So I know that it's 24 inches wide. So I'm just going to draw a line right at the halfway point, which is 12. Look at our chapel is almost dead center.
Yeah.
Definitely need to do something about that. And I'm coming down to 20, so 10 inches. So that is dead center here. That's actually a pretty great place for a focal point right in this area. It would almost be better if it's here because oftentimes we as Americans read from left to right. So a lot of times if you can put your focal point on the right side, it can be a better, but you just want to make sure it's not in the center, and your best spots are here, 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 and here.
If you could make the water brighter over on the right and reduce it on the left, then maybe your focal point would shift.
That's true, except for the, it has to be reflecting what's above it. So if I made this water really bright and there's not a bright spot in the sky,
Oh, I see.
but you're right,
Okay.
I would dull this down so it's not so bright there. And then, yeah, dealing with these trees, do I just clear cut them? Maybe just, let's see what I can do really quickly with just, do I need that pine tree? I most definitely do not need that pine tree.
Is it possible with Photoshop to move that whole bunch of trees over to the right?
Yes. I'm gonna leave some space on my. You can see how messy at times my collaging gets. Again, I'm not so great at Photoshop to not make everything kind of messy, but it doesn't matter because a lot of times I'm just going to convert this into a black and white drawing anyways, and then go from there. But yeah, I personally kind of am happy with what I've got going here.
Yes.
Again, I'll make some changes there. Would anybody like me to save this version, and then I can save it without water as well to save to, for one, is anybody going to paint this? They think, would you guys like the different versions of it?
I'm going to try it.
I might try.
Okay, which one are you liking?
I just want the original so I can muck about it with it myself.
Okay,
I like the last one.
Yeah.
That's the one I like.
that's the one I like too. So I'm thinking this one for me, even though my horizon line is getting pretty close to center, you know, maybe a little bit more, maybe I'll bring it down just a touch. But now, try it real quick, Kate or Gail, crop. And so it's a little bit in between the two. And I'm gonna need to go back to my image size and make it 24 by 20. How is that one versus?
Option A, please.
I like it.
I do
I
too.
love
The bottom blue line is where the middle was, and now the top blue line is where the middle is. So I've just lowered the horizon. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that. We
So
all agree.
with the crop
Yeah.
Yes.
versus, okay. Okay, boy, that took a long time, but I think we have consensus and we're going with this.
So Michael, the one thing that is still hanging me up a little bit is the road seems to go into the pond.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to, I think, either make it look like there's a.
A turn.
Uh-huh.
well,
I see the turn. I can tell that road just goes along the
I was
water
hoping
there.
this looked like a
If you take off a little bit of the bottom of that bright spot, that would
Mhm.
help.
yeah,
It looked like the road curved right around behind it or I mean, beside it.
Pond, where are you? Am I on this one? Huh. Oh, I know.
Couldn't you just shave some off the bottom? Because I thought you kind of did that before.
Yeah, but I don't have it in layers anymore because
Oh, see, I know nothing about Photoshop. So sorry, my ignorance is showing.
no, you're all right. All I'm gonna do is, what layer do I want? This one. My ignorance too, don't worry. So I'm just gonna bring this up a little bit. Does that look more like there's possibly a little bit of a,
Yeah, you'll be able to fix, oh, good.
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
little bit of a bridge going over here?
What color are you going to start this with?
Black and white.
Okay,
And then Indian yellow, I bet.
And yellow, earth red, kind of my generic
your stuff. Okay,
glazing in. So my goal is to get sort of far with the black and white acrylic. If you guys would like, you guys have seen me enough times, we could also spend more time critiquing. So which would you rather see next?
you painting.
Yes, you painting.
You painting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Michael, are you gonna save this so we can play with it too?
Yep. So we're happy here. I'm merging it down, layer merge, flatten image. And there we go. That is our image, everybody. View extras.
It is gorgeous.
But you can see we did a lot of changes.
Oh, yes, we did. Wow.
And so we have, where is that original crazy guy? Nope.
That is incredible.
So there's the original. Let's make it small so we can see them side by side.
What a very good lesson.
To here. And so, yeah, I mean, I could theoretically do this mentally, you know, if I just grab different references and everything else. But what I wanted you guys really to see, and you guys caught on to it so quickly, is if I don't like it, take it out. Those weird vines here, the dead grass here, the dark ditch that was, nope. I don't know if I've got the original. Yeah, the dark ditch in the foreground.
Mhm.
You guys figured all that out really quickly. When in doubt, take it out. It rhymes, so it's true.
Well, we've had a very good instructor, so thank you.
I have to say though, driving past this is nice, but if I drove past this, I would have to stop.
Screech.
Very beautiful,
Yeah.
very interesting. I don't mind the fact that the creek kind of comes and wraps around like this. It's almost like we're driving down a peninsula with a little bridge out there. Irrigation ponds are, you know, interesting things. You know, these trees, we don't even need to have these trees in there. I might actually make them a little, some of them a little bigger to bring them into the foreground, or push the fact that they are backlit, you know, bring more interest. And I'm not sure who was mentioning that, you know, the lighting is not the same. You're right, from front to back. So I have to be very aware. First two rules: where's my horizon line and where's my light source, right? And lock in. That is one of the biggest giveaways when people are making up scenes, is the light source. So I have to keep aware of how is that light coming across this scene. And I do have this as a reference. Like I can use these colors. I'm loving these reds and peachy colors, but I do love these greens and stuff too. And I know how beautiful the navy green or army greens or tacky greens look over the top of the warm browns. So I'm excited. I'm excited for both of these. And maybe, who knows, maybe I can bring this little yellow flower back in somewhere. I hope not. But we've got some interesting things. I could get rid of this middle pond part here on the right side, just to not have any confusion. It's just like pond with the road in between. All right, I'm excited. I need a break. So let's take a 10-minute break and then I will be getting up to the canvas and painting. And yeah, thank you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video. Well, let's get back here at 10. How about a even almost 15-minute break? So I need to go get a glass of water and do a couple other things and even squeeze out some of the paints. So how about 10:35? Is that okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and stop the Zoom. All right, see you in 13 minutes. And remind me to record again.